It is Tuesday, November 12th, and it is great to have you back here. Welcome back to Damon Bruce Plus, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. I'll tell you right now that our live stream brought to you by BetUS. We got the Warriors, Mavericks. We got a little Klay Thompson back in town. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on from a gambling standpoint. Got to have a little something in the hopper tonight, but it's great to have you. Thank you so much for being on back here today, and all I can tell you is that Week 10 in the NFL ends with good old Mike McDaniel doing a solid for his former team. Thanks very much to the Miami Dolphins for beating the Los Angeles Rams on Monday Night Football. That'll help out the old equation that the 49ers are looking for. Cardinals, had an impressive win over the Jets this weekend, so they're in first place in the NFC West with a win in hand over San Francisco. They're now 6-4, or the Cardinals. 49ers obviously just got past Tampa Bay. Thank goodness. We'll get into all that in just a second. They're now second in the NFC West. The Seahawks coming off of a bye week, so they're going to have a rest advantage over the 49ers and a game planning advantage over the 49ers. The 49ers have a Christian McCaffrey advantage over the Seattle Seahawks, and there is some historical significance to that, which we will get to a little bit later on in the show. Both Seattle and LA are 4-5, and that's how the NFC West sits after 10 weeks of play. And here come the Seahawks once again, just like today's thumbnail suggests. Again, thank you for being here. Hit like, hit subscribe. If you are new here, we go live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. West Coast time. Videos, of course, shorts, all sorts of stuff throughout the week, a guest or two throughout the week, and wake-ups with Larry Krueger on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday mornings starting at 9 a.m. West Coast time. So we got you covered in terms of the 49ers, in terms of Bay Area sports, and the larger overall picture is something that we're looking more and more at by the week, by the show. Can't just be a Bay Area guy, because last time I saw, YouTube goes a lot further than just the Bay Area. So, look, we got an awful lot of stuff to get to today. We got Christopher saying, hey, it's real simple. Like and subscribe, you jabronis. Yeah, thank you very much. Like and subscribe. That would be fantastic. Sip of the day comes early in the show today. Again, I had a very, very smooth morning, so I made myself a little coffee. We have cooled down perfectly. Sip of the day, locked in. Again, the 49ers got to lock in. Seahawks are going to be here on Sunday. The 49ers are looking for their first 3-game winning streak of the entire year. The Seahawks are looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. They have yet to win a division game, by the way, and the Seahawks are just 1-4 in conference play. So, coming off a bye, wildly desperate, familiar with their opponent, I'm telling you, Seattle Seahawks will not be coming in here for an easy game with the 49ers. I am sure of it. The Seahawks are going to be playing hair on fire football. And if you're the Seattle Seahawks and you're doing your handicapping against the 49ers, what are they good at? What are they bad at? There is one screaming, neon, glowing, bold, italicized, underlined hole in the 49ers' plans to be a very good football team, and that is their special teams. They will not deviate from what got them here. They will not fire their special teams coach. They are apparently making no, declarations that Jake Moody, this is not good enough. We're going to go back to one of the practice squad kickers that was pretty good for us earlier in the year when you were hurt. It just seems to be, pardon me. Woo. It seems to be live by special teams, die by special teams, with very little living to do by special teams for the 49ers. Again, they've had moments where they've looked objectively not horrible because they're not making a game-altering mistake. But the good moments for the 49ers special teams can only really be measured in one moment. That is how little they have punted this year, which goes into the frustration of this year because, as I was saying yesterday, as I was saying even in the post game after we did our watch party together, I still really don't know what I'm looking at with the 49ers. And you know what? Neither do you, and neither do they. I don't think anyone really has a grasp on what this team is right now. Because if you're looking for a halfway decent football team, you can find one. If you're looking for a football team that has got so many, well, that's a fatal flaw built into their formula. You can find one there too. The 49ers are a lot of things all at once. They're pretty good, and they're also legitimately pretty bad at some big areas that are, points of contention for any good football team. It's hard to say, I trust you when you're this bad on special teams all the time. It's hard to say, I trust you when you're doing such a poor job getting to the quarterback. It's tough for me to say, I trust you when it feels like you miss tackles all the time and running backs are only falling forward against the San Francisco 49ers. They're a tough team to trust. They're a tough team to like. But they're still sitting in a position that they needed to be in right around this time of the year. They're not all the way in it. They're not leading. They're not, pacing the lead lap, but they're looking to get back on that lead lap in their own division. Again, coming off a bye, as desperate a Seattle team as you will see take the field in any game they play this year. That's what's coming to Levi's Stadium. And the next 3 games, when you really look at them, Seattle home, then on the road to Buffalo, and then Green Bay. This is a must-win this Sunday, followed by a must-split the next 2 Sundays for the 49ers to still have the math in their advantage. Jacob says they aren't firing on all cylinders. They fire on all cylinders until they get to the red zone. I'll tell you that much. The 49ers move the football in a week where you're hearing an awful lot of finger pointing at the NFL. How come more offense isn't looking at? We're not seeing more offense all over the league. I've seen some grand think pieces written about how quarterback play is a failure in this country from high school on, and that's been going on for a couple of decades, and that's why the 49ers, why the NFL is in a situation where at any time, it's hard to find more than 5 really good quarterbacks all having a decent month. It's tough. This league, having bent its rule book to the favor of offense, everywhere you look, offense has never been harder to find than it has been this year at times in the NFL. Not just for the 49ers, but for all teams. That's what makes the 49ers still a contender here. Because they do something routinely, which all other teams, including the favorites, have trouble doing. And that's finding a consistent level of moving the football week in, week out. Again, let's take our emotions out of it completely. 49ers facts, no emotions, no feels, just facts. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for the just facts? Offensive DVOA. What is DVOA, Damon? What is DVO? It's defense adjusted value over average. In other words, it takes your offensive formula, applies it to the team that you're playing against, and looks at what other teams and average offenses do, gain yards, what they look like. And it sort of is a fair measuring stick, measuring you against what the league average is. The 49ers offense is 3rd in DVOA. The 49ers defense is 4th in DVOA. The only other team in football to have a top 5 DVOA score offensively and defensively is the Detroit Lions. And everyone looks at the Detroit Lions right now as the team to beat. Kansas City might be undefeated, but number 1 in just about all your power rankings, you'll find the Detroit Lions. The San Francisco 49ers, had they not been a clown show on special teams, are probably sitting at 7-2 and are being regarded as the team that absolutely nobody wants to play. But that's not where they are. So they're not being regarded that way. Special teams DVOA, number 31. Again, as bad as you can get in football. You can't have worse special teams than what the 49ers put out on the field. This is why it's biting them in the ass every single game. It's bad. Not some of the time, pretty much all of the time. And what's also like mind-numbingly frustrating about the 49ers is they're third in the NFL in percent of drives that end in a score. Third in the NFL in drives that end in scoring. Yet way too many of those drives are field goals and recently missed field goals. You want to just scratch your head a little harder to the point where you're bleeding? The 49ers have punted the fewest times in the NFL. You know, some of that is obviously, well, the half ran out. You didn't have the full series. You know, there's some skewing in there for sure. But the 49ers have such a good offense. They're rarely punting. They're moving the ball with relative, I don't want to say ease, but they're 400 yards of offense per game, every game in a league where you got teams, you know, looking for 300 yards of offense. The Niners are just at 400 yards of offense. They played one game with Christian McCaffrey so far this year, and that guy is the straw that stirs the drink more than anybody else. And look, I'm just telling you, you take your feelings out of this. You take your eyes off the game that you watch that leaves you frustrated. You just dive into the numbers. Again, a top 5 offense, a top 5 defense. They basically don't punt. They're number 2 in yards per play. They're number 3 in drives that end in a score. They move the ball. Their defense, it's a big-time bend, don't break situation. They just had a day in Tampa that didn't feel like a dominant defensive afternoon. From a yardage standpoint, it was their best afternoon so far of the season. Again, our eyes, I don't know if they're the ones that are lying, or maybe we're diving into stats to lie to ourselves about this team. I don't know. But to just say, I don't like it because it feels, I get it, but that's not really how sports works. Like, production does have to matter. And the 49ers still have an element of production about them, which means they are not quite the peeled banana trash can emoji that some people decide, you know, oh, this team was trash. You know, they were 1-3 and they'll never win another game and the whole year is over. Not quite. Not quite. The entire year is not over for the San Francisco 49ers. What I want you to do is get yourself over to Ike's the next time you are thinking about what's for lunch. Ike's got a sandwich for you that you will like because he has so many different sandwiches that if you couldn't put the flavors together that you like in there, you just don't like flavor, I guess. No matter what you would want, whether it be big, beefy meat sandwiches, whether you want a vegan or vegetarian option, whether you want something a little light, whether you want something incredibly heavy, he has got it all for you at Ike's. Get yourself signed up for that Ike's Rewards app. Love and sandwiches, baby. That's what he is serving to you. And when you sign up, you will get a free sandwich. You will be entered to win free chips, free drinks, combo meals, and, my good friends, a chance to go to New Orleans, a super touchdown trip for a very large football game that's being played at the Superdome. I think you know which one I'm talking about. Ike's has a chance to win a trip for 2 to New Orleans that you can sign up for over on the Love Rewards app. Download it today. Start eating at Ike's today. Start drinking at the Dubliner as soon as you can. The Dubliner West Portal, one of the great bars in San Francisco. Really, it's not trying to be anything. It's not trying to be cool. It's not trying to be a sports bar. It's not trying to be anything other than a great neighborhood watering hole, and that's exactly what it is. I like a bar with local high school football helmets in it. I like a bar that's got good TVs for me to see, but isn't trying so hard to be a sports bar that it's obnoxious. I like a bar that keeps the volume at a level where you can actually talk to the person who's next to you or serving you your drink. And when you get served that drink, you look it up and you say, "Are you Kenny? Are you Kenny? Because Kenny is always behind the bar pretty much at Dubliner West Portal. You tell him the Damon Bruce Show sent you into the Dubliner. He'll be happy to hear that. And let me just say, if you're looking for a little something to do tonight, well, we got something for you to do tonight at Chase Center. I'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit later on, but since we were talking about our sponsors, one of our sponsors is BetUS. I want you to check out BetUS, where you can get 150% deposit match on your first deposit up to $2,000 and 125% on your next two up to $2,000. These are with first deposits over on BetUS. And let me just tell you, we got Warriors and Mavs tonight. It's the NBA Cup, which means absolutely nothing to me. And let me tell you, I don't think coming back to this Chase Center tonight means an awful lot to Klay Thompson. He is going far out of his way to tell you it ain't no big deal to him. Well, if it ain't no big deal to him, I don't think the Mavericks are going to have a very good game. I don't think Klay Thompson's going to have a very good game. The Warriors right now are looking real good, -2.5 against the Mavericks. Boom. We're going to bang that right there. What are we going to risk? We're going to put 50 on this tonight. Not a big number. We're going to put 50 on it. We're going to place our bets, and there we go. That's as easy as it needs to be, could possibly be, thanks to our friends over at BetUS. So check them out. And I just bet against Klay Thompson. What is Klay's individual prop number tonight? I might have to look for that after today's show, because I'm fading Klay Thompson tonight. I'm fading Klay Thompson tonight. I think he has a lousy game. I really do. Too much mentals in the cabeza for Klay to, I think, just play carefree, happy basketball tonight. So again, thanks to Ike's, thanks to the Dubliner West Portal, thanks to BetUS for powering this live stream, thanks to all of you for being here, thanks for liking and subscribing. Again, we are, climbing to 25,500 followers, climbing to 26. Thank you for being part of that climb, the ascent up the YouTube subscriber count. I thank you very, very much for that. Again, CMC. Getting back to the 49ers, CMC has got himself the exact team on the schedule that he wants to see. As Christian McCaffrey is ramping back up, and I'll tell you what, for a guy who's ramping up, he had 56 snaps. 56 snaps against Tampa Bay. Where did Jordan Mason go? He only had 3. Where did Isaac Guerendo go? He only had 3. Deebo Samuel Jr. in the backfield had 2 snaps. Little less Christian McCaffrey, especially on a day where he's not really running with the ball that effectively. And how about let's not pretending that Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerendo are now, on another team? Like, can we get carries for capable players for the benefit of Christian McCaffrey? Sounds like a really good formula to start working out in your own mind there, Kyle Shanahan. Just throwing it out there for you. When it comes to Seattle, though, you do want an awful lot of Christian McCaffrey out there, because there is no team that Christian McCaffrey sees that uniform and thinks to himself, hot supper. I'm going to eat here tonight. Saw this from Nick Wagner. Christian McCaffrey averages 163 scrimmage yards per game against Seattle. He had at least 125 in all 6 career games he's played against them. And if he does that again on Sunday, and again, he came back after a half-season layoff with injuries that had everybody concerned about could he even play effectively. And in his very first game back, he had over 100 yards from scrimmage. Now, again, Seattle, a team he matches up great against. If he goes over 125 scrimmage yards again in this game against Seattle, he'll tie Jim Brown as the only 2 players with 7 straight games of 125 or more scrimmage yards against one opponent in NFL history. Jim Brown used to do that against the Philadelphia Eagles. Jim Brown would see the Eagles and just think, I'm going off today. And he would. Christian McCaffrey more than 125 scrimmage yards, becomes one of the all-time Seattle Seahawks killers in the same way that, Jim Brown was clearly an Eagles killer with all of that production he had against them. As a running back, you want to be in as many sentences as you can be with Jim Brown. Look him up, kids. He was pretty good. So really, this is a good matchup, hopefully, for McCaffrey. By the way, we break for super chats. Our good friend Joe Sullivan says the coaching in key moments has been subpar at bet this year. What do you think, DB? Thanks to Sandinger Watch Party. Can't wait for Seattle. Was it San Diego? Was that supposed to be? Maybe, I don't know. Anyways, Joe, yeah, Kyle has not dialed up the right play in the biggest moments. I can also say that even if he has dialed up the right play, they haven't been executed in the right ways in the bigger moments that we've seen this year. It's a frustrating year, man. No, let's not pretend otherwise. It is a frustrating year. Apparently, Joe Sullivan is on his way to Ike's right now. He's getting sandwich ideas. Matt Cain with extra sauce is going to be the order today, he tells Rockin' New Era. Okay. All right. True Blue Forever says it's National Happy Hour Day. Another reason to get to the Dubliner tonight. Watch that Warriors game tonight. All right. Hold on. Sorry, I got producers from KTVU calling me over here. Probably want me to hop on and talk about Klay Thompson or something tonight. Oh, this was Joe saying, thanks again for the watch party. Well, you're very welcome, Joe, and thank you very much for the super chat. Helps the world go round over here. All right. Where did we leave off? McCaffrey's dominance against Seattle. McCaffrey's snaps against Tampa, the absence of snaps for Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerendo. Let's get that right against Seattle. Let's not burn McCaffrey's wick, out in the first couple hours of the tornado hitting, right? You don't need to burn out the battery of the flashlight looking at the campfire. And I just think that you got two good players that you're going to want some production from. It's not like they're giving you much less than McCaffrey. They're much different players, but they have their own skill sets to offer this team that I think that the team needs. And it's a pretty good skill to be a guy who's taken some weight off of McCaffrey's shoulders. Again, if you want to talk about what's the best way to probably re-aggravate bilateral Achilles tendonitis, let's give him 56 more snaps this week. Again, the 49ers have been wildly frustrating in moments. If we could just subtract a few of those moments, you're probably talking about a 7-2 football team right here, right now. But they want to be this bad on special teams. There's certainly no fire burning underneath them to correct it. So is it going to get corrected? The answer, I think, is a definitively loud no. I mean, the silence is deafening when it comes to how concerned Kyle Shanahan and his crew seems to be about this, which is bonkers to me. Absolutely bonkers to me. Would a firing help? I don't know, but could it hurt? I guess would be my comeback to that. What are you going to do? Who are you going to give the job to? How about the water boy? How about anybody who is assisting on special teams that you think might have a coaching future in the NFL? Promote that person. Because Brian Schneider's just got, collectively the least impressive crew you can have in the NFL. You can't be much worse than last. Well, they're 31st. Oh, they're just off the pace. Sometimes an in-season firing is called for. When you got guys shoving each other on the sidelines over special teams play, Deebo and Tabor Pepper, obviously there is a feeling in your own locker room that this isn't up to par. This isn't up to standard. Why is it everyone on the 49ers is held to the highest of curriculum and special teams doesn't even need to study? I can see why some frustration was boiling over. Now, Deebo, again, don't do that. Just you're making it harder on the entire team, and you're making it easier for the media to just pick and circle and ask questions that you don't want all week long, and just don't make it easy on the media dialing up the noise around your team. And that's what a sideline blow up does. A sideline blow up doesn't hurt the team as much as it just disrupts the flow of a normal work week. More attention, more meat to be picked in by the buzzards. You're just giving it to them. Don't do that. It's bad for business. Again, one of the reasons why Brock Purdy is so good at what he does is because he's great at avoiding all the unnecessary attention that can come with doing the wrong thing or saying the wrong thing or behaving the wrong way. He just avoids it. I'll just say this. For Deebo to be grabbing dudes by their neck, you're going to need more touchdowns than you have attempts to choke teammates. And I don't think you do. Is it Deebo standing at one whole touchdown this year? One whole touchdown? Thanks so much. By the way, there's only one person who has caught more touchdown passes in the NFL than George Kittle, and that's Jamar Chase. George Kittle's 7 touchdown receptions are tied for second most, I believe, with Amon-Ra St. Brown right now in the NFL. Where would the 49ers be without George Kittle? Hey, diddle diddle. Guy's been fantastic this year. So we are going to hop into a little Club Plus today. I've got that coming up for you. If you got lots of things being said right now, we will get there. Earlier in the show today, Martial says, why is this guy never on time? How late was I today? 90 seconds? God, I think I started at 11:02. Calm down. Sometimes there's a pre-show pee that must happen. Hey, I hear you. People want what they want when they want it. I get it. And people want quarterback play for the 49ers to be better than what Brock gives them, even though Brock has given 49er fans a historically significant good start to his career. But it's still not good enough because you haven't won a Lombardi trophy yet. Okay. It ain't easy being the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. It'll never be easy being the starting shortstop of the New York Yankees. There are some positions which are so locked to the history of that position through that team that there's just more weight to them than anywhere else. And 49ers quarterback is one of the heaviest positions that any player could step into in the world of sports. The scrutiny is enough to suffocate you. And, the praise, far and few between. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Like Brock Purdy could win a game in which he threw 5 interceptions and the Golden Gate Bridge would collapse into the ocean. If Brock Purdy ever had a 5 interception game, I don't know if 49er fans could handle it the way that Jared Goff just did. Now, he had a 4 interception game last Christmas against the Ravens, and people were, pulling their hair out. Could you imagine 5? Oh, my God, people wouldn't know what to do. The very best quarterbacks in this league struggled and have struggled this year, and nobody plays like a clean season anymore. This isn't just quarterback play, by the way. This is now the NFL, and I understand you got an undefeated Chiefs team, and you got a very good Lions team, but playing really good football, like being the NFL's dominant team throughout an entire season, that really doesn't exist as a world for anybody to live in anymore. Oh man, they were the number one team in football all year long. There was no stopping them. It's harder and harder to find. and will continue to be harder and harder to find. I really believe throughout the league is built to tear down success. It is built to, engender improvement among the worst teams and make sure that the best teams can't stay the best for very long. And there's so much volatility. And then you read something like this from Rich Gannon and you think, well, how is that even possible? Because if there's one thing I do know about America, and America is divided in so many different ways, if there's one thing that I absolutely do know 100% about America, and this is not up for debate, I don't care what side of the aisle you live on, football's king. Football is king, and there really is no close second. And this starts, obviously, all the way back, Pop Warner, high school, college, varsity, JV. You even got your USFL, your XFL now, or whatever. They combine those two. I don't even know. And then obviously the NFL. We are so obsessed with football. It's the last collective thing we've decided to watch live together on television. Football is the lifeblood of linear television. If football just went to all the streaming apps, I don't know if we've got NBC, CBS, NBC a couple of years from now. That's how important football is to linear broadcast, television, radio. It's the lifeblood of all of it. So you would think with a sport being this important that the feed of talent into the sport would be, just as good as it could ever be, with coaching being at a premium, with quarterbacks being so identified and focused on early in their career. The quarterback play at this point in time in our sports world should just be the best. How come quarterback play doesn't amaze us? Game in, game out, player in, player out, team in, team out. Why is offense such a struggle? Well, Rich Gannon had a quarterback observation. I saw this on Twitter. I want to share what, former MVP Rich Gannon and broadcaster Rich Gannon had to say. And he's like, 30 NFL head coaches have been fired in the last 4 years. So basically the entire league turns over, once every 4 years. And the reason why, he says, is lack of production at the quarterback position. It's a huge problem in our league, writes Gannon. Too many teams have no clue how to fix this problem. I don't remember a season where offensive football has been so bad. Again, remember, Rich Gannon cannot remember a season where offensive football has been this bad. The 49ers have a top 5 offense. Tell me more about how bad Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy are at this, please. Because it seems they have figured out something that has stymied an awful lot of the rest of this league. They move the ball with regularity all over the field all the time. And the rest of the league can't. Now, Rich Gannon saying it's across the board problem with quarterback play. All right. Well, Rich doesn't offer any suggestions on how to fix it. But where does the fix need to be? I mean, is it you can't fix guys in their quarterback problems once they get to the NFL? This has to be done in college. This has to be done in high school. Larry Krueger and I talk about with frequency on Wake Up a developmental league that is beyond just college football, a developmental league where a guy like Trey Lance, I mean, here's the thing. So Dak's done for the year. Cooper Rush was just wildly unimpressive. Is Dak Prescott is Trey Lance going to get a shot to finally actually play football now that a season is disintegrating for the Dallas Cowboys? If the answer is no, well, we might never see that guy actually play because there's not enough opportunity to play. Well, how do you improve if there's not enough opportunity to play? You probably need to stay in college longer. Maybe this is what NIL will do. Maybe this is NIL's gift to the NFL, where college quarterbacks are going to have an opportunity to stay and play in college to further grow and develop and make some money while they're doing it, and not just rush themselves into the NFL where they're not quite good enough to really succeed and therefore are washed out of the league before they really have an opportunity to develop into the quarterback that Rich Gannon is saying is hard to find around the league now. Styles make fights, situations dictate careers, and if you are playing a bad style of football in the wrong situation earlier in your career, you might get forgotten. And that is, on quarterbacks, it sounds like there's a systemic failure happening to these quarterbacks as well. When does the good coach need to be in the room officially coaching the quarterback for the quarterback not to show up as damaged goods? High school, Pop Warner, flag football, where does it need to happen, Rich Gannon? Again, he doesn't answer the concerns that he brings up. Now, again, there are some players that just never find success because they're in the wrong situation and it's not really the fault of the player. There are other situations where we now have decades worth of data points to prove how bad they are at it, and they just don't get better. And this is easy to see. And this brings me to the headline that I woke up reading this morning on Twitter, where I was like, oh, well, no surprise. But I mean, the Chicago Bears knew that they had the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They knew that they were taking a quarterback. They knew that they were going to replace a quarterback that they took very high in the draft in Justin Fields. And it was, Caleb Williams all along. And they had a coach that was unimpressive in Matt Eberflus, yet they decided to give Matt Eberflus 1 more year as head coach. And this will be his last year as head coach. The Chicago Bears have had a blind spot throughout the entire history of their organization at quarterback. I can't explain it. They're just bad at it. They're bad at offense. Some teams have an identity. This is a defensive team. This is an offensive team. Well, the 49ers are very much one of the NFL's premier offensive teams throughout history. The 49ers, have that reputation about them. And that compounds the interest that always is applied to who's the quarterback and how's the offense running. And it's why Kyle Shanahan gets graded on this better be perfect curve that no other real coach gets graded on. And that leads to the frustration. The Chicago Bears, were known as the 1985 defense is a thing of legend. The rest of the entire franchise's history has basically been a disappointment in the Super Bowl era. And the worst thing you can do is pair a young quarterback with a bad head coach and a bad offensive coordinator who that you will then take away from him, maybe even midstream, and keep going, keep progress, keep progressively getting better in your rookie year when you have to change coordinators. It's like me asking you in the middle of learning a language to learn another language. It's unfair. You'd never ask that of a student. But that's what the Chicago Bears are going to be asking Caleb Williams to do, because they didn't even bother asking Jim Harbaugh if he'd be interested in being the head coach when it was obvious. Like, you need a coach who knows offense. There he is. He's looking to leave Ann Arbor, get rid of Eberflus, who nobody likes, bring in Jim Harbaugh, win the media, win the headline, win the press conference. And, Jim Harbaugh will play very well in Chicago. They didn't bother hiring him. What did they do? Well, let me just take you through it a little bit, because this is the earmark of a bad franchise, and it applies to 2 of the worst franchises in football, the Chicago Bears and the Las Vegas Raiders. Are you ready to go? By the way, having grown up a Bears fan, I can say this shit about them. The second worst thing you can do, other than putting your young quarterback in a bad situation to begin with, is making it even worse by changing the situation on him while he is learning how to just survive NFL games. So, of course, that's what the Chicago Bears have done. This morning, they fired their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. This is the same team that kept Matt Eberflus as head coach, with Jim Harbaugh just waiting right there, looking to come back to the NFL. They said, no, we're going with Eberflus. Well, why did they need to bring in Shane Waldron as the new offensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, that's because they fired their old offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, who then got hired by the Las Vegas Raiders, which led to me leaving a laughing voicemail for my pal JT the Brick, like, you just hired as bad of an offensive coordinator. And he's like, nah, Damon. Anyways, so the Raiders have already parted ways with Luke Getsy. And now the Chicago Bears part ways with Shane Waldron. Both of these teams interviewed Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, I think, was offered the job in Las Vegas and said, no, I'm not interested. And that's why they went to Getsy. The Bears interviewed Cliff Kingsbury, but decided, nope, we're not going to pair him with Caleb Williams at all. We're going with Waldron. So both the Bears and Raiders hire the wrong guy. Both guys have been fired before we've sat down for Thanksgiving dinner. Meanwhile, Cliff Kingsbury, the guy who was not hired by two incompetent franchises, found his way to Washington, where they've got the second highest scoring offense in the NFL. To Bears fans, to Raiders fans, I will just say something that I'm sure you've heard a million times. This is why you can't have nice things. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable how historically incompetent at every turn you can find the Chicago Bears. You can find the Raiders. You can find the New York Jets. The Chargers used to be one of those at every turn, they'll fuck it up. But then they turned to Jim Harbaugh. And look at how little fucking it up they're doing in 2020-24. Well, 2024, not 2020-24. Again, some teams just keep it on suck all the time. That used to be my Hoosiers, but speaking of Michigan, they just beat Michigan. They got a bye week, and I'm already planning to be up. Like, my buddies and I are asking, like, do we need to get together at 9 a.m. to watch Indiana, Ohio State kicking off? It's a 9 a.m. kickoff on the West Coast. That is not friendly for us. Every time I look up at projections of the college football playoff format, Indiana's name is there. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So at least I got Saturdays going on. Sundays, frustrating for Bears fans, frustrating for Niners fans, lots of frustration. We will be back doing another live watch party. People have voted yes on it, so we'll be doing it again for 49ers and Seahawks this Sunday. One other thing for you from the world of football before we talk a little Warriors, give you your today's history lesson, and then hop into Club Plus. Football used to be a much easier sport to coach, to play than it is right now. There's so many brilliant minds exploring mismatches and spreading the ball out. And it's just the football doesn't even look like it used to in the 60s, in the 70s. It might as well be a different sport. Well, a great coach of yesterday football passed away yesterday. I mean, he really was. He was like the city of Los Angeles's football coach, John Robinson. All those years at USC, 2 stints at USC. He coached the Los Angeles Rams as well. John Robinson was LA's football coach for so many years. Passed away at the age of 89. Rest in peace, student body left. Rest in peace, student body right. I mean, that's how simple it used to be. Hand the ball to OJ. Is he running left or right? We'll just, everyone block to the left. It's student body left. Now he's going to run to the right. Everybody block to the right. Student body right. Like, football really did used to be that easy. Run with a fullback out of the power eye, student body left, student body right. And John Robinson ate with that. As a head coach, he won 4 Rose Bowls. He won the 1978 National Championship. He's just a huge presence in, my childhood of football. John Madden and he went to nursery school together. They grew up together in Daly City. So the two of them are probably cracking open a beer and saying things like, boom, whatever John Madden does in heaven with John Robinson, hopefully they're doing it today. Likeable icons, right? Speaking of likable icons, I don't know if there was a better way to describe all of those years with Klay Thompson. Iconic here in the Bay Area, likable as the day was long. Everybody loved Klay Thompson. Steve Kerr famously said there are, hands-off athletes and there are, low-maintenance athletes, and Klay Thompson is a no-maintenance athlete. Don't need to worry about that guy at all. He's always locked in. He's forever in the right mood. He brings up no complaints, causes no trouble, zero squeaky wheel, needing the oil, getting the grease, nothing with Klay until the end. And obviously, the arc of his career changed dramatically with two catastrophic injuries, compounded right on top of each other. The torn ACL, followed by the torn Achilles. Bad, right? And it changed not only Klay Thompson's ability to move, but it really changed Klay Thompson's personality as well. And the carefree, happy to just be here guy that we, fell in love with, rightfully so. He changed a little. He did. I'm sure there is a more delicate way to say it. But at the end, there was more Klay Thompson's shitty attitude than there was productive Klay Thompson for the Golden State Warriors. And I got to tell you, Klay Thompson's shitty attitude seems to be the attitude that he will be walking into Chase Center with tonight. I saw, in the last Mavericks post-game presser, he was asked about his return to Chase Center, and he just tried to blow it off as no big deal, moving forward, don't really care. And the Warriors, they're trying to do right by Klay tonight. And I really would bet, I think it's going to be the loudest ovation that any returning former Warrior has ever gotten at a Warriors game, right? I mean, Klay's going to get a great ovation tonight, and he should. He deserves it. So it's a great player. This was a really interesting guy. You would not have won the titles you won without Klay Thompson. The departure of Klay was a frustrating thing for fans, for him, for the team, for his teammates. I love the hat giveaway, the captain's hat giveaway that they're going to have at Chase Center. That's a great plan, Warriors. That's a great fan giveaway for Klay coming back tonight. I got to be honest with you, though. I'm kind of over it. I'm over it. If Klay Thompson were coming back in here with just a little tinge of nostalgia to offer and saying, it will be, hard for him to look around those stands, not think about, just like Klay could have approached this with a level of, yeah, it's going to mean a lot to go back there. But he basically said, yeah, no, it's a game for the NBA Cup. No one, Klay, including you, gives a fuck about the NBA Cup. No one. You playing your first game back at Chase Center as a member of the Dallas Mavericks, the Warriors even tried to make this special. They even tried to make this fit in to the end of your career, Klay. But you're still not going to let it fit in? It's a little weird. Again, here's the thing. If you ain't going to care about it, why am I? If Klay's not going to get wrapped up emotionally in his return, why would you? If he's already saying, I really don't give a shit, why are you going to go out of your way to care about this an awful lot? I don't get it. I saw in a tweet earlier today, on 95.7 The Game, it is Klay Thompson Day. What's your favorite Klay Thompson memory? What's your favorite Klay Thompson moment? Okay, so you're going to hear the phrase Game 6 Klay 300 times, and you're off topic. You should be talking 49ers and football. That's what people care about right now. The Warriors are off to a really good start. A really good start because Klay Thompson's no longer here shooting them out of basketball games because he's trying to find his own rhythm, which is harder and harder for him to find. By the way, Klay is averaging like 14 points a game this year. You should be happy he's no longer a Golden State Warrior. He'd be slowing down the progress that this team has found. I mean, I don't like to say things about this guy that are negative, but it's the truth. And he is such a negative Nancy now in his career. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'll be happy to go on out there and, see the day the statue goes up. But until that day, it's done. It's done. It feels like everyone has moved on, but come get your captain's hat. It sucks that it ended that way. But it ended that way. I mean, you can't pretend it didn't end that way with everyone going to their neutral corners with funny feelings. SG Sports Talk Channel has been a member for a couple of months. Thank you very much, SG. Hi, Dan. Not my name. Big fan of you. I'd really love to have you on my channel. I'd also love all your content and videos. I'm also a big Klay fan. Well, you should be a big Klay fan if you are a Warriors fan. Again, I'm a little over it myself, but hey, I told you, shoot me an invitation. We can do something on your channel someday. I'd be happy to join you. Thanks for being a member. We will get to our Club Plus here. We're going to get the squeakiest disco ball in America rolling in just a second. But first, I got a little history for you. That's how we wrap up the show. If you're just listening to the podcast today, we always wrap up with a little today in history. First of all, happy birthday. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Neil Young turns 79 years old today. Happy birthday, Neil Young. It's probably not a heavenly birthday, but today would have been Charles Manson's birthday. Born today in 1934 in Cincinnati. He died in prison in 2017. A guy was a killer. Guy was a cult leader, a singer-songwriter, apparently. And all I'm going to tell you about Charles Manson is you could not have had the late 60s, early 70s without him. Like someone would have had to have invented Charles Manson because he so captivated America for all morbid, weird, wrong reasons. I mean, he was a murderer, but it was like the first serial killer that America really became fascinated with. So there you go. Manson. And then we got Marilyn Manson. The beautiful people. The beautiful people. Da-da-da. That's the best Marilyn Manson song, by the way. I'm not a big Marilyn Manson guy, but The Beautiful People was good. Today in 1931, apparently one of the reasons why Charles Manson went off his rocker is he got to San Francisco and he couldn't break into the music scene. He really loved the Beatles, right? He was really, really all about Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter would go on to be the best-selling book about Charles Manson. But apparently Helter Skelter was what playing in his head as he was going to, murder people. Anyways, you don't get Helter Skelter without today in 1931, because today in 1931, Abbey Road Studios opened in London and was later made famous by the Beatles. You don't get all of those hits without it happening in Abbey Road Studios. And that's where they recorded most of their albums. So the space that the Beatles became the Beatles in was born today in 1931. Today in 2018, by the way. You want to talk American pop culture? God, did this guy leave his mark on American pop culture. Comic book writer Stan Lee Again, he gave you the Avengers. He gave you the X-Men. He gave you Marvel Comics. He gave you the Fantastic Four. He gave you Spider-Man. Stan Lee passed away today in 2018 at the age of 95. Thank God that that guy was able to live to see what his ideas for comics became in pop culture, became to the movie industry. You know, I mean, when I think of cinema, you know, this is why Martin Scorsese rips on it. But when I think of movies in America in the last, 15 years, I mean, the conversation basically begins and ends with superhero movies, right? Comic book movies. There's too many of them. It's basically the same movie over and over. The only thing that changes are the costumes, the MacGuffin, and the cities. But it's the same movie kind of over and over and over again. You know, we'll go multiverse. We'll make it even harder to predict what's going on. Not really, you didn't. Anyway, Stan Lee seemed to be a hell of a guy, totally beloved. And today, he passed away at the age of 95, back in 2018. We're going to go all the way back for our next Today in History. Then I'm going to give you the single most personal Today in History I've ever shared with you. Today, in 1859, we got our first ever flying trapeze act, performed without a net. Without a net, a man in Paris did something that no one had ever seen before. The high-flying trapeze without a net. It happened today in Paris in 1859. Not only did we get the trapeze without a net that day, we got something else. The man who performed on the trapeze without a net today in 1859 in Paris, his name was Jules Leotard. He wore a one-piece garment that he needed to cut down on, you know, they wanted it tight to his body, I guess. He didn't want any wind interfering with him while he was up on that trapeze. He didn't want to be, you know, anything catching like a sail being blown away. Not only did we get the first trapeze without a net, we got the leotard. Jules Leotard popularized the one-piece garment so much it became known as a leotard. So you got happy anniversary leotards and happy birthday to first ever trapeze without a net. Did you know that? Did you know that the trapeze guy was the name Leotard and that's where we got it? I didn't. I learned that today. So here's to you and your leotard, wherever it is this afternoon. Finally, today, in 2016, I got married. I didn't think that was going to happen. I was going to be the guy who was very, very comfortable having a sequence of cool girlfriends until my libido dried up like a desert, and in which case I would have just been happy to have died a bachelor. I had no plans really to get married. I had no plans to be a dad or anything like that. But thank God for me, I met a girl named Jillian. She was a game changer. And I'll tell you, if you enjoy this show, thank God that I met Jillian, because without Jillian, this show does not happen. Without Jillian being the primary breadwinner for our family right now, a world that I never thought I would live in, where my wife was lapping me in terms of salary because I got laid off. Jillian is, look at it this way, she is the safety net in our entire family's trapeze act. 8 years ago today, I met the most badass modern woman that you could have ever imagined in your entire life. I know a lot of you have actually met her. You've seen her here on videos. Honey, if you are watching this, please get back to work, because you are carrying this entire family on your shoulders right now. But thank you for lowering your standards and settling on a schlub like me. Thank you so much, Jillian. I love you. Thank you for deciding to settle. 8 years ago today, we got married right here in San Francisco. So there you go. That's our show for the day. We will, my good friends, we will get into Club Plus here on the YouTube channel. But if you were watching or just listening, I should say, on the podcast, this is where we part ways. So let me once again say, eat at Ike's. Sign up for the Love Rewards program. You get a free sandwich when you do, and you'll be entered for a chance to go to New Orleans for a big football game that's going to be played there at the end of the year. Well, really beginning of next year. Make sure your days begin, your nights end at the Dubliner West Portal. Love the Dubliner. Those are my guys. Bet US, you saw us drop a little jingle jangle on the Warriors. -2.5 to beat the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I think Klay shoots the Dallas Mavericks out of a game tonight. I really do. So, by the way, use promo code YouTube150 when you sign up over at BetUS and get 150% sign-up bonus when you make your first deposit up to $2,000. Thanks to all of them, and thanks to you for listening. We're about to hop into Club Plus on YouTube, but everyone on the podcast, thanks so much, and please do remember that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Plug the disco ball in, let it get all squeaky. Damn, where's the plug? Here it is. Light off. I've never looked better than in the dark. Oh, it's good to have you here. Let's get into it right now. Let's go into Club Plus, where we see whatever you are talking about right here, right now. I'm going to work backwards forward. Instead of catching way up with an hour ago, let's start with what we got going on here right now. And True Blue Forever, who's been a member now for 10 months of the Uninitiated. Thank you very much, True Blue. Yay, Jillian. Congrats on 8 great years. They really have been great years. J49, nice, man. Happy anniversary. Definitely your better half. She whiz, without a doubt, rocking new era. She is the Steph Curry of the Bruce household. She is Steph Curry. She is the splash mother. She is she is also Wilt Chamberlain, Al Attles, and Draymond Green playing defense against 2 little boys at all times. 8-year anniversary of my Grammy's transition to, so what, she became your grandma or your grandpa? She transitioned? Oh, I'm guessing you mean passing away. Michelle, here's to your grandma. Would have been something else if she had a sex change. Damon Bruce after dark? Oh no, it's still very bright out, but it's dark here in the club, baby. Damon, did you ever get a burger at Clown Alley? I did, David. You know, over in Columbus, in that one spot that is like it's turned into a million different things. But yes, I did get a burger at Clown Alley, and I think I went for one burger there and never went back. So I wasn't really impressed by it, and I can see why it closed. It was an unimpressive burger, if I remember correctly. McFly JP says, love this club. Well, thank you very much. The Whiz Burger? Yeah, I had a Whiz Burger too. And again, you know, good, not great burger. If we're talking about great burger, Irwin, you got it with your next one. Beeps on Ocean Avenue, I swear to God, is the best cheeseburger in San Francisco, bar none. But it's better than Coswell's. It's better than your fancy burger at Zuni. It's better than the burger that you get at Nopa. I think the Beeps burger is the best burger. It's better than any smash burger. It's just the best. Freaking love it. And yeah, Michael, you are right. Beeps is back to staying open late, by the way. Michael, you were right about that. I rank Uncle Boy's as my best SF burger. Let me tell you about Uncle Boy's. I love Uncle Boys. I love Uncle Boys. They were one of our first sponsors here on this channel. As a matter of fact, you know what? Hold on. Here we go. I think I still have them as a, oh no, I'm using a different service now, so I don't have the old Uncle Boys logo to put up. I love Uncle Boys. They're one of my favorite family stories, and it's a great burger, but it's a very different burger than what Beeps is. You know, Uncle Boys is looking to give you like a big beef patty, where Beeps is doing those smashed, seared on the, you know, it's not a grill. It's seared on the plancha. And so it's a totally different type of burger. Sporticus says the Burgermeister Meister burger is the best burger of all time. I don't really know much about the Burgermeister Meister burger, but I'd like to know more. Yeah, Dylan, Beeps, noted. David, do yourself a favor. Don't just make a note. Get to Beeps on Ocean Avenue. It's freaking great. Beeps, you got to Google it. Bulky sound drop. You gotta Google. No, dude, it's like you're freaking Signetti at Indiana. I win. Google me. Beeps. Google it. Yes. You need to try Beeps, especially if you've never tried it before. Got a really good bun, too. The burger to bun ratio is something else. Now, better than Ike's? Great question, Chef A. Ike's has got a burger. It's not available at all of his locations, but it's available at the Mission Rock location. It's a great burger. It's a burger that tastes like an Ike sandwich, which is one of my favorite things to put in my mouth there is. So I love burgers. I like Ike sandwiches. It's basically a burger with Godfather sauce on it. It's big. It's the size of like a Dutch Crunch roll. It's huge. It's a great burger. Let's see. Squeeze, all of a sudden, this is all about burgers. I'm telling you, people care about cheeseburgers as much as they care about their teams. Squeeze In has the best burgers. That skirt, the cheese skirt, I have not had a Squeeze In burger, but I've heard about that cheese skirt. Postman from Capitola. Oy, oy, oy. Always good to see you. Horse Feather and Marlowe. Really good burgers. Both of them. No doubt about it. I mean, look at this. This is all burger. Just burger, 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 burger. Smiley Dan, by the way, weighing in on this one. Burger fan here. Beeps is so good, but beware the crazy long lines of students. Yeah, or you do. That's the thing. Do not go to Beeps as City College is getting let out, because you will get caught in a line. I call ahead. I order my Beeps, tell her I'm going to be there in 15 minutes. I pick it up. I bring it home. I eat it. You can't eat at Beeps except for like outside or just sitting on their little picnic tables. It's a roadside stand. I mean, they ain't making restaurants like that anymore. Sporticus is saying that the Burgermeister Meister burger, watch some Christmas claymation shows with the kids and you'll laugh out loud. Oh, okay. So it's not even a real Burgermeister Meister. Okay. I feel better to know about that. Otis Bird. This is a tasty burger. Yeah, what was that? The Malibu burger? The Maui burger? What was the name of the fictitious burger in Pulp Fiction? Malibu? Big fan of you too, SG Sports Talk channel. Again, use Twitter, reach out to me. I think we've had this conversation. We can put something together someday for sure. All right, let's hop back a little bit earlier into the show to see what we were talking about when we were talking about football. So the sip of the day came way early, Rockin' New Era. I wasn't even tracking that, but I'm glad that the sip of the day happened. Oh, he even tracked it. The underhit. There you go. It came early in the show today. Skills report. Hey, man, I could still use some coffee. Still 1/3 asleep. That means you're 2/3 up, baby. Vince Vargas is Spartan up. Spartan up. Spartan up. How is San Jose State doing? They're having a pretty good year, right? They're okay. Not bad. I gotta be honest. I kind of lost track of what San Jose State's doing. Rammy Ram 84. You need a clutch kicker like the Rams, Arizona, Detroit, Dallas. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's what Jake Moody was drafted to be. As you can see, the kicker that you draft might not be as good as the kicker that you sign on Wednesday off the street sometimes. That's why I wouldn't really be drafting kickers, not ever. But, Niners did. Screw DVOA. What is their red zone efficiency? Jason, PDSI. Look, Jason, you're right to be angry about that, okay? You're right to be angry about that. Their red zone production is less than becoming. But I'll tell you this, it should get better now that Christian McCaffrey's back. The fact that it didn't get immediately better in his first game back, I think that, I don't have to explain to you that a little patience need to be applied here. But at the same time, Jason, I hear you. Get better in the red zone. A little bit better in the red zone. This team is 7-2. And if they're 7-2, nobody is writing me anything like they're mediocre. The 49ers have been, they're more frustrating than they are mediocre. Because they're actually pretty good at some things that you just have to be good at to be taken seriously. Unfortunately, though, for the 49ers, they are bad enough at some things that you have to score it against them. Good teams do X, Y, Z. Well, bad teams do X, Y, Z as well. And the 49ers are X, Y, and Zing both the habits of good football teams and bad football teams. So I guess you meet in the middle, which is mediocre. So maybe you're right, Ahmed, when it's all said and done. Again, he says, you're spewing fake news. No, I was spewing statistics. That's what I was spewing at you. Statistics. Again, the statistics won't let you, when you look at them, kick the Niners as hard in the dick as you want to. Because when you look at them statistically, they're better than you'd think that they would be. If you want to just root against the Niners the rest of the way so you can be right about them being disappointing, have at it. Like, if that's how you enjoy being a fan, by just rolling around in the worry and the wallow in the misery, yeah, you got a puddle to roll around in thanks to this Niner team. If you do, though, still want to look at this season optimistically with a little something pretty good could still happen, sort of, being what you keep on coming back to, that's available too as a train of thought. That train is not so thoroughly left town that you're not even allowed to think like that. So, again, there are some Niner fans who just want to be angry and upset because it makes you feel like you're more dialed in than other fans or something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But there is a percentage, and it's not just Niner fans. I think it's all sports fans out there who all they want is the worst for their team so they can have like this I'm the victim of negligence complex rewarded that they have about them or something. I don't know. It's really weird. Efren Williams says Cardi B kicked CMC to the curb. I'm either too old or too white to get that. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on there. Let's see. What else is going on? Again, Joe Sullivan with the super a little bit earlier in the show today. Thank you for the watch party. Joe, thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing me basically a 55-gallon drum of marijuana. Thank you very much. That all goes into the ganja jar. Mountain Cat says, you sound pissed, Damon. At what? This was earlier on in the show. What was I pissed about? I'm not pissed at all. I'm in a good mood. I'm pissed at how bad the 49ers remain on special teams, and apparently doing something about it just doesn't even exist for them. But I'm good. I'm good. Pretty happy. I'll tell you what I was going to do. I had a plan to go to the Warriors game tonight. I had texted Raymond Ritter saying, Raymond, if you could cut me a credential for tonight, I'd really appreciate it. Reserve me a seat in the media section. This morning, though, I wrote Raymond back, and I'm like, oh, dude, it's my anniversary. Never mind. I'm not coming after all to Chase Center tonight. And he wrote back. He's like, oh, good decision. I'm like, yeah, husband of the year over here. I did. I forgot about my anniversary until I woke up, and I'm like, November 12th. November 12th. That sounds like an important date. Whatever happened on November? Oh, yeah, that's right. 8 years ago, I got married on November 12th. Husband of the year candidate. Not the best sports question of the day, Southpaw 707. Who is better, Bronny James or Kyrie Irving? I'm going to take Kyrie there, just edging it out. Damon, Indiana football wins, San Jose State University wins, Cal wins. There you go. That's the clean sweep. What else we got going on here? Carl says, Damon, you're wearing a Last Dive Bar shirt. Carl, half of the clothes that I wear on this show are Last Dive Bar shirts. These guys have sent me so many great T-shirts. I do like this one an awful lot. It's just a simple stamp. Last Dive Bar, last game in Oakland. I do. I love the Last Dive Bar guys. They got great shirts, great gear. By the way, this channel will be offering shirts and gear. We're probably going to be going live with that somewhere around Thanksgiving. So if you want to shop plus for your holiday needs, we're going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to do that over here. Can Gruden coach in the NFL, Felix? Yeah, I believe he still can. Someone's got to hire him. You know, he comes with some baggage, more baggage than usual, but I'm going to tell you right now, John Gruden is the closest the Raiders have looked to competent in a long time. He's still a good football coach. He's insane. Well, I saw Gruden was actually just in Tampa. I believe he was the guest of the Buccaneers owner. I think Gruden was walking around pregame on the field with the 49ers and the Buccaneers. What else is going on here? Good to be back in Club Plus, right? Eric. It is very nice here, Eric. Damon, number one, thanks for all you do. Eric, what do? I talk sports. That's all I'm qualified to do. By the way, I took a look at my life when I got laid off. I did an inventory. I'm like, what am I good at? What skills do I have to offer the workforce? I came back with a resounding none. None. I have no skills to offer the workforce. If not for talking sports, what the hell good am I? So this is what I do. Number two, if you were in charge, how would you fix the issues in the red zone of the 49ers? Much love, brother. Oh, well, here's the thing. I would get Christian McCaffrey involved. If I were Kyle Shanahan, I would come up with 5 plays that I just thought were my money plays, and I would just drill the shit out of them and be ready to run them in the red zone. I mean, it really shouldn't be as hard as they've made it look, given the talent and the weaponry that they have. Eric, I wish I had a better answer for you. Thank you for being so kind. But it's got to get better. It doesn't even have to get massively better. It's just got to get a little bit better. If the Niners just got a little bit better offensively in the red zone, if they got just a little bit better defensively throughout a game, and just got a little bit better than worst special teams that you could think of, again, they would be 7-2 right now. What else we got going on? Efren Williams says, Damon, the Bears love you. No, they don't. This has been a pretty toxic relationship since about 1987. Being a Bears fan has not paid off in ways that I hoped in my life, okay? That's why I respect Damon's football opinions, because he knows what bad football looks like. I sure do, JJ Raider. Again, being an Indiana University football fan hasn't produced a single good year of football for me except for this year in my life. Being a fan of the Chicago Bears was great when I was 10 years old and has basically been an empty exercise of nothing but disappointment in every other year of my life. It's just bad. You know, how can you forever be bad on offense? Not just some years, not with some coaches, not with some quarterbacks, but like the through line through your entire franchise's history is basically, but for Walter Payton and Gale Sayers, you have been negligent on how to play professional football offensively. It's just amazing. Amazing how bad it is. All the time. Got our friend Padraig in here. I appreciate that. Padraig listening from Ireland. Thank you so much. Couple more stars coming in here. No, those already came in. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. I'm going to go all the way back down. I know there's still a lot of burger conversation happening. But there you go. Miguel Alvarez, we'll end with this, Miguel. He says, it starts with Brock Purdy. He needs to be the reason why we win. Look, Brock Purdy has been really good, and he is the reason why you're winning. He is Brock Purdy has been more involved with winning games than losing games this year. I know he's had some turnovers and some inefficiency that you'd rather not see. I think he's going to return to the Brock Purdy that you're used to seeing now that Christian McCaffrey is going to make this offense operate a little bit more like he'd become accustomed to. I think it's going to get better. I really do. I think the 49ers are about to get the little bit better offensively that they need to be. Now, will their defense come along for the ride? Will Dre Greenlaw be able to re-enter the chat? Will special teams ever be anything other than the Benny Hill theme? I don't know. But I do think that they are about to get a little bit better offensively. I've been wrong before. I've also been right one or two times in my life. So there you go. Thank you very, very much. Tell it, Damon. Well, thank you, Mountain Cat. I'm trying to tell it. And that's it. That's all. And I thank you very, very much. It was awesome to have you here. It was fun hopping back into Club Plus. Bazzy Mian. By the way, thank you, Bazzy Mian, for being in here with all the early adversity, with missing all the players and needing to do more. It's only helped Brock with his development as a quarterback. I think, I think so too. I think so too. I think that this is part of the reason why he continues to get better and not stall out. I like Brock Purdy an awful lot. I know that there's some of you out there who do not. You go your way on that subject, and I'll go my way. And maybe we'll meet in the playoffs, at which case you'll say, oh, maybe you were right about that after all. Here we go. Little safety meeting to wrap up everything today, and this is really where we're going to wrap it on up. Thanks, Damon. Happy anniversary to you and Jillian. Welcome back, Klay. Go Warriors. perfect way to sum it all up. Thanks again to my sponsors, Ike's, BetUS, and the Dubliner and West Portal. Thanks to you as well. Really, really appreciate you being here. Hit like and subscribe. How many likes do we have on today's show here? Only 85 likes. I mean, get your acts together there, audience. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Smash all the buttons that make the algorithm happy. And please do remember, my good friends, that sports don't build character. They reveal it. Oh, I've already done that. And like that, he's gone. We've already done that. At the end of Club Plus, I need to let you know that you don't have to go home. You just can't stay here.